for the morning. The topic is AIDS and white females. And we have with us to talk about this particular topic Miss DRunions3. And of course, Ms. Runions, we promised before the end of our first segment that we'd give you an opportunity to talk about the devastating impact that this disease is having upon white females. As we indicated earlier, we have quite a bit of statistical information dealing with the impact upon African Americans, the impact upon African American females, but we also know that this disease is also having an impact, as you have demonstrated, upon white females. And so that's the kind of information that we'd like for you to try to give at this particular time.
All right. Well, when I became infected in 1992, only 4% of the people in the United States who had the infection were women. Today in Tennessee, we're right at 30% of the new infections are female. About 25% are white and 74% we have an other category, but most are African American women. But when I became infected, my daughter, who is a very outgoing person, decided that she needed for me to go to England before I died. And she wrote Regis and Kathy Lee and wrote to them about my infection. It was the first time they ever used the word AIDS in their show. And I was chosen as one of the mothers to be honored, and we did win a trip to England. While we were there, we went to Cornwall, and while we were there, we spoke to 3 Rotary clubs in Cornwall, which is like a county, and it's at the southernmost tip. And we went there, and they did not have as much HIV as we had, because they have education, sexuality education from the time they're very young, so they don't have the same problem that we have here. So that was my very first experience with being sort of a minority. And when I went to Washington, I found out that there are very few women who are willing or able to go public and talk about these things. So it was important for me. I felt it was important for me to do that. Let me just say, one of the other reasons why I was able to go public is because I knew my family would support me. I knew my children would. I knew my mother, my dad had died by this time. I knew my brothers would support me. And not everybody has that kind of support from their family. I also called my editor as soon as I found out, and I said, someday I want to talk about this. So he said, when you get ready, will you write about it in the paper? And I said, yes. And it took me a few months, and I didn't call